Okay, so today we're going to be learning how to learn different sentence types. But before we go into that, I want to make sure you guys know what even is supposed to be a basic English sentence. Like what even is a sentence, guys? We need to know this. We need to be locked in for SATs, for English in general, taking AP seminar maybe. Like you need to know how to write a sentence. This is the most important fundamental for English. So let's start with what is a sentence primarily made of? A sentence is a subject plus a verb plus a object. Well, this is very basic. Like object isn't always the case. Like it could only just be subject and verb. It could be subject, verb, adverb. It could be anything. Object is just what we're going for today to explain. We could go further into that in a different video, but today I just want to make sure you have the primarily the understanding of it. So a subject could also be a noun. For example, we could say the dog barked to music. The dog is the subject. It's what the main sentence is about. You could say the professor gave homework. The professor is the subject. The dog is the subject. It's what the sentence is talking about. And it's a noun, so it doesn't always have to be in a living thing. It could be a book. It could be a place, because it's a noun, person, place, or thing. Okay? Barked. Barked is the verb here. Okay? Because to bark, that's a verb. So the dog barked. It's an action. It's what's happening. So that's also part of the sentence. And the object is music. See, it doesn't even have to be. It could be the dog barked, or it could be the dog barked to music. That's the same thing. It's just a basic English grammatical sentence. Okay. Now I want to make sure I can teach you guys what the difference between independent and dependent. Oh my god. Dependent clauses are. Because to learn these different sentence types, it is the most important thing for you to know the difference of. Okay, for example, actually wait, let me just explain this to you real quick. Independent, dependent, you think X and Y, like math. If you're not there yet, basically, dependent means you rely on the independent variable. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's say you have a car or something, and it travels 50 miles, okay? The amount of gas that you need to travel 50 miles is dependent on the miles that you run. But the miles that you drive in the car are not dependent on the amount of gas that you have. Actually, that wasn't the best example, but do you get my point? Independent means it can stand on its own. Can stand alone. Okay? Dependent means it relies on independent clause to be valid. What I mean by that is it needs to make sense. For the dependent clause to make sense, the independent clause has to be there. So you can't just have a dependent clause without having the independent clause. But you can have an independent clause without having a dependent clause. So this one needs independent clause. This one does not need but can have a dependent clause. Okay, so now I want to show you an example. You can say, because it was raining, the sky was blue. Excuse my thing, I'll say the sky is blue. Because it is raining, the sky is blue. Okay, so how do I know which one is the raining one? Like, how do I know which one is valid? How do I know which one is independent or dependent? Let's start off with this clause right here. We know this is its own clause because of the comma or like the separation. So let me just say that the main way you can tell is because of this because. Okay? Because, I've been saying because, but whatever. So because is something that you say when you're talking about something else. Like, you can say that the sky was blue. That's fine. The sky is blue. It can stand on its own. Like, I could be out on the street and I could be like, wow, the sky looks blue. The sky is blue. Wow, the sky's blue. Oh my god, the sky's blue. Like, I can do that. I can be like that. I can just say that, right? Nothing else needs to be added to make it, like, so there's no context errors. Like, I can say because it is raining. Because what is raining? Like, because what? Like, what happened? Like, because it is raining, what happened? Like, you need to add on to that. That's why you have an independent clause. The dependent clause is an addition to this independent clause. But the independent clause is not an addition to the dependent clause. It stands on its own. Okay? It stands on its own. The because here means that it relies on something, which is why this is the biggest factor when determining if it's dependent or independent. Okay, now I hope that you understand that, because we're going to move on to actually differentiating these sentences. So we have a simple sentence. So a simple sentence is just one independent clause. Okay. We already went over what an independent clause should look like. So I can use the same example as before. The dog barked. That is just its own sentence. And we're done. That's just simple. This is independent. It can stand on its own. I can say, oh, the dog's barking. Or I can say, the dog barked. You already know, like, there's nothing that needs to be added. Like, that is okay on its own. Okay. Now let's move on. Simple, I feel we already covered enough. So now let me move on to compound. Compound sentences are 2 plus independent clauses joined with a conjunction. What is a conjunction? Like, why are you always saying something, Manya? Like, what are you talking about? A conjunction could either be a semicolon, a comma, or fanboys. What's fanboys? Check out my other video. But I'll just tell you guys anyways. Fanboys for short is for and nor, but, or, yet, and so. Just stuff that you say after you put a comma, or that doesn't even need to be a comma, but you can. But I said but, okay? But you can add it. I want you guys to watch this video and count how many times I have said a simple sentence or a compound sentence. Okay. So now that you guys know what a simple sentence is, and it's just one independent clause, how would I write a compound sentence? Wouldn't it just be two simple sentences together with like a comma or for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so? Well, yeah. So you can say the dog barked and the dog. What else could the dog do? The dog could ate. Okay. Sorry. The dog barked and ate. So since the dog barked and the dog ate, I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like you could say the dog barked and the dog ate. Now you have that fanboys in that conjunction, and you have your compound sentence now. You know how to write a compound sentence. You know what a compound sentence is. I'm so proud of you. Okay, now let's move on. So we can we can learn what a complex sentence is. Complex is one independent, oh my god, I knew I did something wrong. Wait, hold on. One independent clause and one plus dependent clause. Okay, so you know what a simple sentence is. You know the foundation for a sentence. You know what an independent clause is. Say the dog barked. Ooh. The dog. Ooh, why am I not capitalizing this? Okay, the dog barked. That's your independent. And now you can add one or more dependent clauses to make your complex. So what would I add if I were to do this? So the dog barked and the dependent clause could be like, because he was hungry, the dog barked. Okay, so now we can put the sentence together and we can say, because the dog was hungry, the dog barked. You might be asking, wait, didn't we make the same sentence earlier when we were doing independent versus dependent clauses? Yes, because now we have one independent and one dependent. Or you could be like, how do I add more? Well, you could add more. You could say because the dog was hungry and he didn't want to go And because he wanted to go outside, the dog barked. You could add so many that could just be making, because your dependent clauses should be making the reader question, wait, why? Why? And then your independent clauses answers that why. So that's why you have all of that there. Okay, I like how fast we're going. Now we can do compound complex. Now that sounds scary. Compound complex. Oh my god, like what would this even be? Blah blah blah. This is just 2 plus. So 2 or more independent clauses and 1 or more dependent. Okay. How do I do this? How do I do this? Well, it's actually, just think about it again. Okay, we did the dog barked. That's the first independent. What's another independent clause? You could say, we can use the sky is blue again. The sky was blue. Or we can say the sky thundered. Or the sky was noisy. You could say the sky was, or you could say or the squirrel, or the cat. Let's say the cat. The cat meowed. You can say because they were fighting. Okay, now let's put this together. We can say the dog barked because they were fighting. Because they were fighting, the dog barked and the cat meowed. Okay, so we can say because they were fighting. Let me just add it on here. Because they were fighting, the dog barked. And using that fanboys, we will say because they were fighting, the dog barked and the cat meowed. And there we go. We have just figured out how to make a simple sentence, complex sentence, compound, and compound complex. This is the final sentence. And I hope you guys do well on the SAT. If you're not taking the SAT, I hope you guys are just happy that you learned this grammar rule. And I'm glad that I could help. And I'm just going to leave now. So bye. Hope you guys do well. Peace.